Have you ever wanted to create mind-blowingly visual videos and images, but your creativity or execution just wasn't that good? In today's video, I'm actually letting AI take over the entire creative process, from generating the prompt to creating the images and using Kling 2.1 in the end to generate beautiful, stunning, high fidelity videos that will blow your mind. My name is Lloyd. I am the co-founder of AgentStack, an AI automation agency designed to help make AI more accessible to businesses like yours. If you want to get access to this build, make sure to click the link below where you can get access to our free Skool community, where we have over 5,000 people learning more about AI and how they can integrate it into their own companies. Let's get into the build. So with this build, I had the idea of creating something from nothing. And I want to talk to you through the thought process of building it first, the tools that I use, and then we'll get deeper into the build and all the execution of it. So the goal of this build was actually to create something from nothing. I did not want to feed in any ideas about the images that I wanted to be created into a video. Instead, I wanted ChatGPT to create me a random image prompt and then have that image prompt feed itself into OpenAI to create the image for me, have that image stored so that it can be fed into our Kling AI, and then have Kling create the video for me, so that by the time it's all said and done, I'm checking my spreadsheet and I'm pleasantly surprised with the end results, as you guys saw in the very beginning. So let's talk a little bit about Kling AI. Kling AI, guys, is an incredible tool for creating video from absolutely nothing. You can basically provide it an image, and that image will then, with high fidelity, turn itself into a video. So you can create pretty interesting videos from absolutely nothing. So it's like this right here, a lion. This was just an image of a lion, guys. And that image of that lion immediately gets turned into this high resolution video. This is just a close-up picture of a cat. And look at that. It is a cat walking with a 360-degree perspective that shows curious cat investigating a web camera. Like I said, there's some pretty incredible things that can be created. Here's a cool robot. But here's something that I find very fascinating about Kling. A lot of these other things like ChatGPT, they're going to restrict you on copyright infringement. But if you look at that, that's the joker, guys. We need to have an API that will connect into Kling. The problem is that Kling API can be very expensive. So we have a workaround with that. And that's using a software called Fal.AI. Fal.AI is a great tool that we actually used in one of our previous videos, where we actually connected to VO3 to create video and audio together. Fal.AI can connect from audio to audio. It has a lot of different tools that it has, whether it's Kling, it's VO3, it's context, it's image preview. It's so many different tools. In our case, we're going to use it for video creation with Kling. And if you look at this, this is just an image of a bird, guys. And it's basically giving it instructions to generate a beautiful video here. If we look at other examples of what it can do as it taps into to OpenAI or to Kling, we've got this picture of this guy holding an egg. This could easily be generated on ChatGPT, guys. Then it gives it instructions: bathe in warm light, warm glow of a single strategically placed lamp. The jeweler's weathered hands delicately cradle a fiery opal. We're going to use Fal, and we're going to combine it with all of our normal tools to help build this thing in its entirety. So let's get into the build. I'm going to show you each of the steps and the nodes individually, and you guys are going to be amazed by it. And like I said, if you want this template to be able to put into your own n8n, make sure to click the link below, get access to our free Skool group. Nolan and I have a ton of builds that we put together, and this is just one of many that we have in there, guys. All right, let's get into it now. This is our initial prompt. You're an AI agent that generates one highly original, surreal, and visually viral image prompt designed for maximum impact on Instagram or TikTok. The image prompt is accompanied by an immersive cinematic quality video prompt that describes how the camera captures the moment in rich visual detail. If you notice, guys, I'm not really telling it anything. It's just original and surreal. So I am giving it a little bit of nuance as to like the direction I want to go, but I'm not actually saying like I need you to be a, look like Cyberpunk 2077 or look like a comic book or look like a Marvel movie or whatever it may be. It is just taking a little bit of nuance and moving it forward. We give it the context. The agent was told what to create, only how to think, invent something impossible, surprising, or visually overwhelming that could dominate attention on social media. Its output would be file name, image prompt, and video prompt. The reason that I have it do that is because I need to drag that information and add those things to our spreadsheet. Also, I need to take that image prompt to be able to create my chat in ChatGPT, my image. And I need to take that video prompt in order to actually create the motion of the camera based on the instructions that we're actually giving it. So it provides instructions to conceptualize a visual scenario so mind-bending and awe-inducing that it would dominate attention. So like I said, it is kind of taking some key points to create something that is very visually interesting. And so we could tweak it to be a little bit more mundane, or even not have that in there. It could be corporate focus. But like I said, I didn't want to feed it in too much stuff as to like how it needs to think. I just needed it to go and use its creative mind in order to generate the next possible best idea. It constructs a video prompt, and that video prompt has specific instructions. Like I said, based on what you saw, we need those video prompts in order to help us show the Kling how it's supposed to work through the process of making that video. It gives us our tools, the examples of what it would look like, and an SOP and final notes. Now, one thing you'll need to do is, because this first node is actually an AI agent, and the reason that I chose an AI agent over a general LLM to message a model is because I needed a structured output parser to push out my data. So I clicked here for required specific output format, which allowed me to get a structured output parser. And that then allows me to have file name, image prompt, video prompt, and now we're off to the races. And if you see, it actually generated a new idea, which was an impossibly colossal forest where trees and giant glowing clock gears intertwine with luminescent vines under a star-splattered twilight sky. And then it gave a video prompt. The camera soars in above, descending through a deep purple twilight sky dusk with scattered stars penetrating a dense mist that parts to reveal the glowing clockwork trees rotating. Like, that is pretty detailed and visually interesting. We then add it to our spreadsheet. And our spreadsheet, we're going to be doing an append. I have it in my generate sheet. I'm just going to show you guys it right here. So it's named Celestial Clockwork Forest. It's got the Celestial Clockwork image prompt, the video prompt, the image URL, and the video URL, all nice and stored there for the final product. So those are the cells that you'll need within your sheet. I will also provide a template for you guys so that you don't have to create one on your own if you don't want. What I'm doing here is I need to make sure that my status is to do. We're having the image prompt be dragged into there, or into here. We have the file name be dragged into image name. We have our video prompt be dragged. We're leaving these blank because we don't have those yet. And so as it stores it, the only reason I have a limiter is because I was having multiple images come in. And as I was testing, I didn't want multiple images. So we can rebuild this prompt specifically to take in the numbers, and we can have it create multiple images actually, which is very, very helpful. And that's why I have this loop here. So I have this loop because I needed to bring in the information, and then I needed to go through each individual prompt that it's coming in to create the image. So I have a node here because I was having trouble passing data, especially with the video, image, and image name. Those things are very important. So I put a what's called a set node so I can store that data very quickly so that it doesn't find its way getting lost later down the road. And we are going to be using our OpenAI image prompt. So this is an HTTP request, and the HTTP request is going to be using this endpoint for generating images. And all of this documentation I will provide a link to as well so that you guys have access to the documentation from OpenAI. We're using generic credentials, our header authorization, and then we're using our OpenAI authorization. When you create this, you're going to put authorization in here. You're going to have bearer with a capital B space and then your API key. A lot of people will put it in a header here. We have done that many times before at our company, but as you can tell, we are starting to move into the point where we're just storing all of it in the back end. And that way I don't have to worry about my API key being seen. And most importantly, I don't have to worry about trying to go grab that API key from any documentation I have and then copy paste it in there. I just have it stored in the back end of our stuff. So we will be using a body, and we'll set it to JSON. We're going to be using the field below versus JSON. The model will be GPT image 1 with dashes. The prompt, we will literally just grab our image prompt and move it over there. And then size, they have a few different sizes that are available. I'm just going to choose 1024 by 1024 just because it's easiest. But technically, if you wanted to build in one of 3 different image prompt sizes in your prompt, you could grab that and drag that over into this value here. But once that's done, it will generate this string, which is a little annoying. So we have to convert that. That's just one of the things that it does. It converts it into a base64 JSON string. It understands what it is. We don't visually understand what it is. Which is why we need this next node here, which is a move base64 string to file. And what it'll do is it will convert this to an actual file. So you'll have it set up to move 64 string. It should have this already ready to go. And then you'll have your output field. You'll have as data. So you'll see here, there's base64 string, which we could just drag into there. And then for our case, it's just data, which is going here. And then we'll upload the name, which is why I have stuff being put into field so that I can drag it over, guys. So it's the image name here. And then by the time it's done, it creates this very weird clockwork image for us. Now, one thing when we're in Kling, and I'm going to show you guys this right now. This is why understanding your API documentation is so important, guys, whenever you're interacting with things. Eventually, we know that in this API documentation for the HTTP curl, we'll need our video prompt and our image URL, meaning we need some sort of public-facing image. We could try to put this into Google Drive, but the problem with Google Drive is it doesn't really create a public-facing image for people to download. So we're going to have a way to actually find a platform that will publicly actually host it for us. So I'm going to show you guys what we did here. All right, so in the beginning, I didn't have the information. So what did I do? I went to ChatGPT and I looked for the information. I need to take a binary file image and n8n and find a way to create a shareable, viewable URL. It did give the option for Google Drive for a public link, but like I said, I tried that. It doesn't work. And then it gave me, I could either upload it to Cloudinary or ImageBB. I've actually heard of ImageBB, so that's actually the tool that we ended up using. ImageBB is actually free, at least it is right now for me. And I can create I can actually upload a bunch of different images to it. And one of the things that it does, which is very helpful for us, is we can actually get an API key. I'm going to have to delete my API key later, but we can see the methodologies that we need. Once again, API documentation for the win, guys. We can create, this is api.imgbb.com. And so we can create an API key. We know that the URL that we're going to need for our endpoint is this. This is required. The image is required. The name is optional. The expiration is optional. So we know that we just need these two pieces of information in order to store this image. So we put key, our key right here. We put the URL, and it's a post method because we're going to be giving it to them to store. The form data, which is exactly what they said, we'll go form data on the body, binary file because we have a binary file. The name is image because that is the beginning prompt name, as we saw right here, image. And then data is the file data endpoint that we're getting. So once that's done, it will store our video, our image, to be publicly facing. We'll see our image right there, which is pretty great. So once that image is stored, I give it some time to wait. And the only reason I'm doing a wait node is because I want to give ChatGPT just a chance to refresh before we go back through that next loop and work on building the next image. I then build a quick append or update where we're just searching for the image prompt itself. We're turning the status into in progress. And then we are updating the image URL so that we have that. And then just in case, because as it goes through the loops, I don't want things to get lost before it goes into the next loop and spits that out. Rather, I want to make sure that it's going to store everything here. So I have the URL and the video prompt because those things are the most important to me. And then when it leaves the loop, we then go into our Fal.AI. And this is where we are going to create our video. So we're going to go into the documentation here. So like I said, the curl, for some reason, it just wasn't working when I was trying to copy paste it. But luckily, once you see enough of these, you know a few things that you need. We know that this is a post request. So we've updated this to a post request. We see the endpoint URL, which is that. So we have that endpoint URL set aside for us. We know that this is a header authorization with key, space, and then the key itself. So I actually set up a header authorization here, and my API key is key, space, and then my API key with authorization. And then we have the actual data here. So we know we need a prompt and an image URL. So we have our open bracket prompt with the prompt, video prompt right there. We have our image URL here, and I specifically put, this is some of the other ones on the side for the other outputs. You'll see below. I put duration of 5 seconds because I don't want to get charged 28 cents per extra second of footage. So, and then I created a batching. I wanted to batch one at a time, and then I wanted to do it every like 2 seconds. I don't want it to go and just boom, 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 one after another. I want to give it just a little bit of a pause before it runs through the next one. So it sets a status of in queue. It has a request ID, a response URL, the status URL, and the cancel URL. And one thing you could do is you could have a big, long wait node here for 5-10 minutes, but you don't know exactly how long that video is going to take. So instead, what I like to do is I like to create a loop. And so that loop checks the status. And so we can actually, if you look at here, fetch request status. This is something I learned when we were developing scrapers within Appify, because one of the problems that we're having is that we're scraping 10,000 emails, and then we're trying to upload those 10,000 emails and personalize those 10,000 emails through ChatGPT, and we were running into a lot of issues. And so one of the workarounds that we ended up learning as we were building this in our company is how to actually do these loops that can do requests to just check for requests. Now, if this had a webhook I would probably rather just do a webhook wait, but it doesn't have a webhook to connect. So instead, we'll be doing a loop. So we see that it's a GET request. We have our URL for our endpoint with the request ID, and then we once again have our authorization. So we have the exact request. We dragged in our request ID to be at the very end, and then we grab our credentials. And if you look here, once it's done, you'll see the status as complete. So I put just basically a simple if statement to say, hey, if the JSON status is completed, equal to completed, move it forward to true. So if it's not, then we wait, but I'm only going to wait a minute so that I can, because some of these things can be fast, some of these things can be slow. So I'm going to wait a minute and I'm going to check again. And so it went through this loop for about 5 minutes or 4 minutes, and then it finally spit itself out. And now we have to have a way to grab our video. Once again, API documentation to the rescue. We have our Fal.AI. Once again, there you go. And all of a sudden, you have a really interesting video made literally out of nothing. Like, how weird is that, guys? And also kind of cool. And then finally, once it's all said and done, guys, we just do another append or update, and we add our image prompt and we change our status to done. And that's it, guys. That's how you turn nothing into something. That's how you take a random image generated prompt and you turn it into an image and you turn it into video, and you have something pretty cool for whatever clients you may be working with, or maybe other channels that you're just wanting to create content for that you think is very neat, guys. Really, we're living in a day and age right now where as fast as things are moving, that the sky is the limit. As long as you have an imagination, or you just tell ChatGPT to be your imagination, you could build just about anything out there, guys. And like I said, if you guys want more templates like this, make sure to get access to our Skool group. I've got the link below. Nolan and I are continuing to pump out a ton of content for you guys, where we are just producing as much value as possible. We got over 5,000 members that are just super excited to be in there. Everybody's engaged and just wanting to learn how to actually continue building their own n8n builds and just get into this AI automation game. My name's Lloyd. If you loved this video, make sure to hit like and subscribe, guys. And I think that YouTube has a video for you right here that you might like. So check it out, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.